One good evening, good evening, good evening. This is Coach Sherri, Pastor Sherri. Sherri, good evening. Listen, I'm just coming around tonight to talk about a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So welcome tonight as you are coming on. This is a pop-up. I've just kind of like been feeling good about myself all day long. It has just been a good day, and I want to share some things with you. So welcome and come on in. As you are coming in, it is my prayer that you find value in this place, in this space, so much so that you will share it with your circle, your clique, or your crew. Good evening, everybody. Listen, again, this is just a little bit of this and a little bit of that. There is no rhyme of reason to what I say. I'm going to jump from one topic to another, and hopefully those things will make sense. So if you are here, and I see that there are some people here. Listen, again, I see some people here, so when you come in, just acknowledge yourself and let me know that you are here. Just want to talk to you a little bit about a couple of things that's going on. But first of all, before I get to that, I just want to say that this morning I was tremendously blessed in more ways than one. I was tremendously blessed by stumbling upon Alpha Street Baptist Church and the Dr. Renita Wings as she talked about the Old Testament, the Hebrew Bible, the Torah, and the reason why I'm so excited about it is because it is confirmation of what I will be offering, and so many things that she talked about this morning that really blessed me. And I am a lover of the Old Testament, the Hebrew Bible. I am a lover of the Old Testament, the Hebrew Bible, and I am going to be offering a course on that in beginning January the 19th. And so it just was confirmation to me that what God has given me, I am on the right track. And so if you have not registered for this free course, it is 5 weeks. That's why I call it Take 5 Weeks to Explore 5 Books with Reverend Sherri L. Jackson. I contend, and I could be wrong, but I have thought this for a long time when I became a student of the Bible, and really in the academic field, the scholarly field of the Bible, that if you can get a good grasp of the first 5 books, in the Christians' Old Testament, in the Hebrew Bible, which is the first 5 books in the Hebrew Bible for those who practice the Jewish faith, it would make no sense. It makes no sense for them to have an Old Testament because they have no New Testament. Only us Christians, it's called the Old Testament for us because we have the New Testament. But the first 5 books we share in common. So we're going to take a bird's eye view. Now we're going to do this in 5 weeks. So every week we're going to take a book. This is going to be what you would call a survey, right? So it's no way that we could do the whole books and do justice in 5 weeks. So what we're going to do is every week we're going to take a book. So starting January the 19th, we are going to look at Genesis. And then we're going to go to Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Now, I know some people, we just kind of don't look at Leviticus at all. But I tell you, if you ever take time to work through Leviticus, the book of holiness, the book of worship, how God tells them to honor him, to worship him, what it means to be holy, right? And if you ever take the time, you will be blessed. I know that Leviticus is not one of those books that has, those hard stories, those good narratives like parting the Red Sea and things like that. But if we take time to go through those books, I guarantee you it will bless you when you understand that the Bible is this grand narrative for Christians. It tells the story. It tells a story, right? And so what we need to do is understand the first five. And if we get the first five, we'll understand the prophets. We'll understand the gospels. We'll understand the letters. We will understand the Psalms. But you got to get the first five books. You got to get the first five books. And so January the 19th. Now, this is weekly. So these are Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we're going to take about an hour or so each week to take a look at these books. There are some key things, if we understand some key things, some key verses in these particular books, we will have a good handle. We will have a great start for the rest of the Bible, what we call the Bible or the Christian's sacred text. And every religion basically has a body of literature that they consider their sacred text, right? For Muslims, they have the Quran, right? For Jews, they have the Hebrew Bible. For Christians, right, we have the Old Testament and the New Testament, right? And so the first five books are common to all. The first five books are common to all. And so if we could get that, we can have a good chance of understanding. Now, the way that you register for this course is to go to my website. It's listed there on the screen, www.sherriljackson.com/take 5. Take 5 weeks to explore 5 books with Reverend Sherri L. Jackson. So I'm excited about this study. I love the Old Testament. And so I preach sometimes out of the Old Testament more than I preach out of the New Testament. It's just so much there. And we do a disservice, preachers, if we don't read and preach from and study the Old Testament. I have some people who don't do anything but the Gospels. They don't do anything but the Gospels. But I believe as Christians, those of us who are Christians who follow the idea of the Old Testament and the New Testament, that much of what happens in the New Testament hinges on what happened in the Old Testament. And besides, when Jesus and those in the New Testament talks about the law, they are talking about the first 5. They are talking about the first 5. Besides, when the lawyer in Luke 10, the story of the Good Samaritan, asked Jesus, what is the greatest law? He was pointing back to, right, the first 5, where there are approximately 613 613 laws that he was looking for Jesus to say, thou should not kill, thou should not steal, all these laws in the Old Testament. And Jesus chose two, to love God and love each other. Where did he choose them from? He chose them from what he would have called the Torah. There was no New Testament, right? There was no New Testament in Jesus' day. And in fact, what the New Testament that we have, it was written years and years and years after the events took place. So I invite you to join me in 5 weeks to explore 5 books. 5 weeks to explore 5 books. And what's the 5 books? Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. What are they again? Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Listen, there ain't too much sexy going on in Leviticus. There ain't too much sexy going on in Leviticus. There's a lot of drama going on in Genesis and in Exodus. But when we get to Leviticus, it's slow reading. But if we ever take the time and deal with Leviticus, we will get some stuff together. We will, even in our churches, our spaces that we hold worship today, Leviticus has some bearings on those things. So I invite you to join me beginning January 19th, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So it's a Thursday every week for 5 weeks beginning January 19th through February 16th. And listen, if depending on how people are receptive, I may throw a bonus week in there. So I invite you to join me in those sessions. So you can see it on the screen, and you can go to my website at www.sherriljackson.com/take 5, and it's going to take you to my website. All you have to do. I'm so excited about it. I forget to tell you that there is no cost to this course. There is no cost to the course, but the course has much value, right? It's no cost to you, but it is a valuable course that will help you along the way. Now listen, I have a good number already signed up. The first day it went out, people were sharing, and people were signing up. So if you have already signed up, over the next day or so, you are going to receive an email with the link information. This is going to be a private situation for only those who have registered. It's going to be via Zoom. By Zoom, you will receive an email with the information, and you will also receive your course materials. I'm excited about this. I love teaching. And so I'm excited about this, and I want to get this going before I get back, before the semester starts again, where I am in my 4th semester. Thank God I am in my 4th semester of my D-Men program. Can you believe we are halfway through? this process, and it has been a process. This semester here, I did not think I was going to make this semester, but thank God I made the semester, and the semester is over with. And so I have when we go in January, it will be the fourth semester. All my writing, all my papers are done. We are now going into beginning the project. And so my project or my dissertation or what I'm working on is, and you know my favorite subject, my program that I am working on should not be a surprise to anybody who follows me. It is over preaching women matter, overcoming patriarchal systems, and establishing best models that affirm women called to preach. Listen, this research has just bless me so much because I have lived rejection of being a woman in ministry. I have lived these things of the stories that I have read, and so what I want to do is to provide a avenue that help women to navigate these systems that seek to keep them solid in the church. Amen. And so we'll talk about some of that later, but I just want you to know what I am working on. So now the third thing is that if you are preaching tomorrow, my prayer is that you preach with conviction, that you believe your story yourself, that you preach with confidence, that you know what you know, and that you preach with clarity. What do I mean by clarity? That you preach in such a way that the people in the congregation, whether they are in person or virtually, that they will understand what you have to say. This is not an opportunity. Sunday morning is not a time for you to get up to use all the big words that you know. You do need to be informed. Your work, your sermon should show that you have put some time in, but the people in the pew, they're okay with knowing that God delivered Daniel out of the lion den, but I need to know, can God deliver me out of the den, the lion's den that I am in? It's good for people to know what God did in Boyce, Louisiana, and in Bethlehem, Louisiana, but can God do it in Baton Rouge, right? Can God do it for the people who are in the pew? So whatever you do tomorrow, I want to ask you to do three things, preachers, if you're going to preach tomorrow. I want you to preach with confidence. I want you to stand boldly because you have done your work and you know what you know. And the Holy Spirit will take what you have done and shape it in such a way that the people will be able to hear it and take it and use it for their lives. I want you to preach with clarity. I want you to be clear. I want you to stand there and your words are clear. Your grammar is correct. I want all of those things so people don't have to look at you like a deer in headlights trying to figure out what you are saying. And then I want you to preach with conviction that you are not saying something about what other people have said, but you have experienced it for yourself. You believe what you are telling the people and you will use it for your life. I tell you, the best sermons that I have preached have been those that I sure enough know what I'm talking about, not because I have studied it, but because I have lived it. I have lived it. So do your work, and I pray that you are not just starting tonight. I pray that you are just not starting tonight with with what you are doing, that you started early enough, and that tonight you are just putting the final touches. If you are doing it, if touching it at all, I pray that this day has been an easy day for you, and that you are well rested when you get up and you stand tomorrow. Listen, I told you I'm not going to be long. I just wanted to drop some things in your spirit. Number one is that this has been a good day for me. I started out listening to Dr. Renita Weems at Alpha Street Baptist Church in I think Virginia, if I'm not mistaken, and they had seminary on Saturdays, and each Saturday for the next couple of weeks there's going to be a scholar who presents. And so she, being a professor of the Hebrew Bible, right? Of the Hebrew Bible, she talked about some things that really blessed me and affirmed what I am working on. With the second thing that I talked about tonight, Take 5. Take 5 weeks to explore 5 books with Reverend Sherri L. Jackson. We are going to look at Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Each week we're going to take a book. It's going to be at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Now listen, you know that 1 hour a week is not going to tell us everything that we need to know about these books. But what I intend to do, what my goal is for you to get a good start, a good handle on these books. And then at a later date, I will be offering a more in-depth, detailed study of these books. Already I have preachers, I have pastors enrolled in the class, I have Sunday school teachers, I have just students of the words, just students that I want to know more about the Bible. I want to know more about the Bible. And so I intend to do that beginning January 19th at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. That is a Thursday. That is a Thursday night. Okay. And then finally, if you are preaching tomorrow, preach with confidence, preach with clarity, and preach with conviction. That's all I have to say. It's Mardi Gras season down here in New Orleans, and that's a subject that we may deal with at a later date. I pray that tomorrow, when you stand preachers, that you give it your all, and that you may not be charged with malpractice in the pulpit. Oh my God, what is she talking about? Malpractice in the pulpit. Well, let me just tell you what I mean by malpractice in the pulpit. That you do not cause spiritual injury to anybody by preaching in such a way that what you say is not biblically sound. That you do not take content out of context. That's when we engage in malpractice in the pulpit and spiritual injury. Now y'all be blessed, and may all be well with your day. Sign up at sherriljackson.com/Take 5.